Hey everyone, it's Luke, and my partner in crime here, Lewis,
Yo.
and we're doing another podcast here. I
So
know we haven't done one in a while.
it's been a long
Hopefully,
time coming.
what's that?
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, a long time coming. I know people liked them, and we haven't been doing them lately. Hopefully, we have it technically figured out, so we can actually doing them more often. You know,
We had it technically figured out until I dropped my laptop in the bath.
that's right. Lewis dropped his laptop in the bath.
That's
I
the
don't know why he
problem.
did that. Lewis, why did you do that?
I was watching TV in bath.
Oh, what were you
I was
watching?
watching TV in bath. No, I'm not telling you what I was watching.
Oh, oh.
It's embarrassing. It weren't rude, but it's embarrassing what I was watching. But yeah, I was watching a program, and
My Little Pony.
hmm?
Was it My Little Pony?
No, Cabbage Patch Kids. No, I'm joking. But the program's irrelevant. But if I tell you the program, I'll lose all my authority in
Oh.
nutritional balancing.
Now my mind's working. I'm trying to figure out what it could possibly be.
You won't know it because it's an English program. So
Oh, all right.
even if I tell it to you, you're not gonna.
It's okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I was watching TV in the bath, and it was on a towel, like, and the towel was like at an angle, and it was weird because I thought when I got in bath and I looked at towel, I'm thinking that looks like it's in a dangerous position, but I didn't think anything of it. And because the windowsill's like high up, and I was in the bath like looking up towards the windowsill, obviously the screen's got to be facing downwards. So I kind of got out of the bath, pushed the screen down a little bit so I could see it better, and it kind of all happened in slow motion. Fell in.
Right.
But
Moral of the story: electronics and baths are not a good combination. Get yourself a good, nice used paperback book from a thrift store.
yeah, exactly.
Then you can get, and if you get it wet, you can just go get another one. But anyways, he's on a new computer now, and hopefully we have this figured out. So we get a lot of questions about meditation and the pushing exercise, as it's called now, as Larry likes to call it. And it's a more esoteric concept. It's one that a lot of my clients too have more trouble kind of wrapping their minds around. And we definitely got a lot of requests wanting a podcast about that. So we were just going to kind of take it from the top, talk about our experiences with it. Visualizations that help, and how it's important that you all understand how powerful it is. It's very important that you all understand that it is the most powerful part of the program. And you have to realize that at a certain level, the whole program is designed to help facilitate this sort of process, right? So when you're moving energy downwards, we have to realize that the whole program is designed to help this process, and that it's a grounding diet which helps move the energy downwards. The supplements help move energy downwards. The sauna, the coffee enemas, all this is kind of helping you be more grounded, right?
Yeah. Mm.
The lifestyle and everything. And so if you can understand that the whole program's working together to kind of facilitate this, and that you can kind of tap, when you're doing the exercise, you're kind of tapping into that energy directly, and you're really multiplying that effect. If you understand that, you can understand how important and powerful it is.
I think another thing that people should realise, though, is that sometimes when you hear Larry Wilson or me and you talk about energy or pushing energy down or the pushing down exercise, there is actually quite a lot of people that don't understand what the energy is, or they don't some people don't even feel it,
Right.
And it's important just to, if you don't feel it or you don't know what to be looking out for, when the energy's there, you'll definitely understand, in my opinion, because it's quite poignant, the energy. Do you understand what I mean? So a lot of people are like, well, I'm not sure whether I'm doing it, and it's like, well, if you know what I mean, if it does happen and you are feeling it, you will probably understand what it is. But if you can't feel it, just do the exercise anyway. Do the
Right.
exercise anyway, because it's still very beneficial, and the act of you imagining energy getting pushed down is beneficial. You will probably have a little bit of energy moving down through you, and also the fact that you should be concentrating on your fingers and stuff. It's obviously got the mental aspect to it, but probably we should explain to people what actually the exercise involves, because maybe a lot of people that are coming are not going to understand what the process is to do it.
Right. And it's important to realize that I've experienced this with my own clients. There is a subset of the population that can do it immediately, and it is very, very powerful for them, and it's kind of even a trip. You know what I mean? I would say about 30-40% of my probably about 30% of my clients can immediately do it, and it's extremely powerful for them, and it's kind of like a trip. Like I experienced this in myself. And then there's another group of people where, it's very difficult for them, and it's hard for them to even wrap their minds around. Yeah. And they don't even really know what they're trying to accomplish. And I think that's what this podcast is really geared, is those people is what this podcast is for, because the people that can do it immediately, and they understand how powerful it is, they already understand how to do it. They don't need to really be told. They just need to keep practicing it and keep disciplined about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that I'll just try and explain to people what actually the process is on how to do the meditation, because I remember when I first started the program like 5 years ago, and if someone mentioned to me meditation, I had a completely different idea of meditation, of what this actual process is all about. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone mentioned to me meditation, I'm just thinking of a guy sat in lotus position, head rolling towards the back of the head, like seeing strange objects or seeing kind of different dimensions or something. I didn't really understand what it was, and I remember it actually took me quite a while to realise what meditation was all about, and kind of all the different aspects to it, and all the different views people have on what it is and what people should be doing. So in this particular exercise, what you should be doing is you need to start off in either a straight back chair or by lying down. Personally, I prefer lying down. I think it's more easier. And what you want to be doing is you want to be imagining yourself pushing energy downwards. Now, it might be strange me talking about energy and stuff. Look, 5 years ago, if someone mentioned energy to me, I would look at them strange. Luckily for me and Luke, we could actually feel this energy quite quickly. So when I could start to feel this kind of energy flowing through me, it was a little bit kind of strange, and I was quite overwhelmed by it, the fact that I could actually feel it. So anyway, what you need to be doing is constantly imagining pushing the energy down, and at the same time you want to be concentrating on one finger at a time for around 10 to 20 seconds each. Now, if you start doing this, you'll start to notice that your fingers will start tingling. Now, that's a good sign that you're doing the meditation properly. And when your fingers start tingling, you just keep your concentration on the fingers for like 10 to 20 seconds. Keep the concentration there, keep the energy pushing down, and then you move to another finger. And you keep doing that for 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on where you are in the meditation. Now, while you're meditating, and while you're pushing the energy down, and while you're concentrating on these fingers, depending on how good you are at the meditation, a lot of the people, when they first start the meditation, they'll realise the amount of times that the mind wants to wander. Now, this is kind of what meditation is all about, really. If you look at all the different meditations around the world, it's about kind of allowing the thoughts to manifest themselves properly, but you're in a position where you don't follow them, instead you watch them. And by concentrating on each finger, and every time the mind starts to wander, you bring yourself back to the fingers, back to the fingers, back to the fingers. You start to become the observer of your thoughts. Now, that's an interesting thing, because a lot of people think that they are their thoughts. But when you start watching your thoughts, you start separating yourself from these thoughts, and after a while, you realise that they're actually automatic. Now you just need to keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that, just keep doing that, and pushing the energy downwards. I'll speak more about it as we speak in the podcast, but I think that's the general gist of what you need to do.
Right. And so many people, when these thoughts come up, they're actively fighting it. And they're actively, because they think they've kind of been taught with meditation that you need to really concentrate on clearing your mind and everything. And that's partially true, but you should bring the focus back to moving energy downwards. And then just observe the thoughts that come up. But don't try to fight the thoughts. As you move the energy downwards, your thoughts will automatically slow and your mind will clear more as you bring the awareness back to moving energy downwards over and over again.
I think, like, if you're first starting off the meditation program, and if if you've had a hair test and you've got, your practitioners come back to you and said, look, you've got heavy metal toxicity, you've got copper toxicity, you're likely to find the meditation exercise difficult in the beginning. Like, we're not turning around and saying it's a simple technique. It is quite difficult. When I first started the meditation, my mind was running 24/7, and I didn't really understand how to do the meditation. I was like you guys. I didn't have a clue what to do, really. I'd read the articles and stuff, but you're always second guessing, I suppose. And it's important to realise that don't get frustrated, because it's easy to get frustrated by your thoughts because you can't stop them. Realise that that's not necessarily you that's thinking too much. There is a copper imbalance there that makes you think a lot. And from my experience, as I was dumping copper, as I was removing copper from my system, my mind started to slow down automatically. And that, for me, is a clear sign that it wasn't me as a person that was overthinking too much, although my personality might have a tendency to do that, and that's probably one of the reasons why my copper is rising. But you've got to realise that the copper does play a role in keeping that going, and you can get yourself into a bit of a catch-22. So don't be frustrated with yourself if you feel like you can't handle it, or you can't do the meditation very well, or your mind's going too quick. Just keep bringing the focus back to the fingers, one at a time. Even if it's just for 10 minutes a day, just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and do the program as well, because there's no good really meditating and not kind of detoxing the metals, although meditation allows you to detox more easily, because you'll be fighting against the thoughts too much. So it is important to do the program and get the detoxing out there as well.
Yeah, and there are those of you going to be watching this that are not on a program, and that's fine. It's still very powerful for you. If you are on a program, I tell my clients this, the best time to practice the meditation is when you do your coffee enema. Because first of all, you're laying there anyway and you're not doing anything, right? You should be not doing any activities while you do the coffee enema anyway. You're laying there in bed. And second of all, it's very important to realize that the coffee enema facilitates this process and will allow you to move the energy downward more easily. And so, especially when you're starting, it'll become easier, and then you kind of incorporate more into your daily life, when you're working or, doing whatever sort of activity you may be doing. But I think that it's very true that in the beginning especially, really try to do it while you do your coffee enema. Make that your meditation time especially.
Or in a sauna.
In
the sauna. In fact, the saunas, the coffee enemas, I've noticed that the coffee enema tends to help me, well, they both do, but the coffee enema is really powerful at moving the energy downwards, and I can kind of feel really grounded. But I noticed in the sauna, if I was thinking too much, if I was meditating in the sauna after 10 to 15 minutes, the sauna would really slow my mind down, and that helps to kind of realise that, well, it's not me that's thinking too much, there's other factors at play here, you know what I mean? And it's nice sometimes when you go in the sauna and the sauna stops you from thinking or slows your thinking down, because it makes you realise, like, I'm not a crazy person. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a crazy person that my mind's going 100 mile an hour all the time. Like, this external heat or this external infrared or coffee or even a few calcium tablets, it has the ability to slow down my mind. Now, that made me feel quite relieved, because for years I've been sent to psychiatrists and stuff because I thought that I had a messed up mind, that were just thinking too much.
Right. Yeah, and doing the meditation while you do your procedures is very, very important. And you're killing two birds with one stone, because, if you're doing your coffee enemas anyway in your sauna session, and then you're meditating at the same time, you're not going to have to set as much time out during the day to do specifically the meditation, right? Because you're kind of doing it while you do your procedures, and it will help you learn. It'll help you learn to feel the energy too, because both of these therapies are helping to ground you and move the energy downwards, especially in the beginning. And then it gets easier, and you can do it more, while you're just laying in bed. Right.
I think for anyone that doesn't really know what me and Luke are talking about with the coffee enemas and the saunas and stuff, we're talking about a nutritional balancing program, and if you want to learn more, we're going to put the link in the description, because I think sometimes we talk a lot about different things, and I get a lot of questions from people saying, like, what actually is the program? To try and sum up the program is a whole systems approach to nourish the body and give it the opportunity to heal properly. And it's a mixture of diet, detox, drinking water, supplements, meditation, and if you combine it in a special way, it allows the body to remove a lot of toxins and heal very well. So it should definitely be something people worth looking into.
Yeah, and me and Lewis both agree that this meditation exercise is the most powerful part of the program. And so I would say that moving the energy downwards is the most powerful sort of healing technique on planet Earth. You know what I mean? And we're very lucky in that we have access to this information. It used to be, this was kind of privileged information. They only did this sort of technique in, monasteries and things like that. And the ability to learn about it and do it in today's world is very, very beneficial, for all of us. We've definitely talked about some of our experiences doing the meditation, in other podcasts. I'm not sure how much we want to touch on that.
Well, it's probably a good idea to kind of explain to people what this energy is that we're talking about. Now, it's a little bit tricky, because a lot of the people that are going to be watching this are probably going to think that we're quacks, or, it's a taboo subject in the Western world, but in in a lot of religions, in a lot of Tibetan Buddhism and a lot of Chinese spiritual history, this is really well known, and people refer to this energy as chi, prana, source energy, ki, and I think that it was actually found in quantum physics, and it was called the quantum mesh. But the scientists that kind of discovered it didn't think it was that important, or they thought it was less important than other things, so it didn't really get out there in the mainstream. So in terms of Western science, there is some science behind it. But this chi, or energy, is...
Yeah, in physics, it'd be known as the ether.
Yeah, there we go, yeah. So, for anyone that... It's good, because Western science and kind of Eastern spiritual ideas have been combined into one. So we have actually got proof of this energy, and I think a lot of people that are into things like free energy and orgone energy, I think that runs off the same energy, the vacuum kind of energy and stuff. but
Right.
the whole universe runs off this kind of energy. We just haven't tapped into it yet. It hasn't been
Right.
made too mainstream yet.
And it's important to realize that it's not like most other meditations that people are used to. And there's a reason why most conservative Christian type of people are very wary of any sort of like spiritualism or meditation. Um, it's because a lot of like counterculture movements, like the sort of meditations that they practice, a lot of them are ungrounding, and a lot of them, are focused on different sorts of things. It's important to realize that this meditation is also it's very forceful. It's more of an active meditation, and that you're learning to force more energy downwards, right? It's important to bring up that point as you get better at it too, that you learn to, it's almost like, lifting weights, you get stronger, your muscles get bigger, and then you can lift more weights.
Yeah.
As the downward energy builds, you can force more down. So it's very active. And it's very important that you understand that this isn't true for other meditations, in my experience, but this meditation does not feel good for many people in the beginning. It feels good for a lot of people, and it will feel good eventually, but if it will bring up traumas. Okay, this is especially true for women. Okay, if a woman has experienced severe trauma, like she's been raped, or she's been like abused in some way, or something like that, it will definitely bring up things.
But maybe I think a good analogy when you're doing the meditation and you're focusing on each finger and you're watching the thoughts. The thoughts in the mind are a little bit like a filing cabinet that haven't been sorted properly.
Right.
And you've got files and files and files of stuff that are all mixed up, and you don't really understand where they've been or where they've come from and how to sort them. And this filing cabinet obviously goes all the way back to when you're born. And when you're born and you're a bit of a you're a pure soul and you get brought into the world and you are in this environment. If you're not in a particular loving environment, or if you're in something might happen to you and it scares you as a child, and because you don't have any experience or you don't understand it because you're young, your kind of ideas may be twisted, or you might express yourself in a way when you come across similar situations in life because of this first traumatic experience that you experienced. And it could be, your father might not have been there when you're a child, so you don't really understand how males work or how male energy works. You might have done something benign when you were younger. I don't know, maybe drop an ice cream and you got a really bad shouting, and that's traumatized you a little bit because you're young and you don't understand it too much. But from that point on, your whole kind of personality and your whole way of living and being and understanding changes slightly based on that first experience. And you go through life going through all these little different traumatizing experiences and these little things that have happened to you, and they build up and they build up and they build up, and you become an adult. Now the thing is that when you're an adult, you forget about all these things. You do not know the reasons why you do certain things, or why you're drawn to certain people, or why you're drawn to certain foods even, or certain experiences, and it's because of how you got brought up. And what happens when you're doing the meditation is, by you focusing on your fingers, the mind starts to show you the files of the filing cabinet. And some people might watch them and go into them and follow these files off, but the idea of the meditation is to kind of watch the files, and the more that you watch them, the more that you understand them. And if you understand them from an adult's perspective, and you might see how you kind of you talk bad about yourself in a certain situation, and when you're living day-to-day life on automatic, these thoughts are automatic, and you kind of fall into them, and you think that you are them thoughts. But when you actually watch them in meditation, it allows you to say, well, hold on a minute, that's obviously not true. That's not kind of what reality is, and you can heal it from that point on. Now, the more you do the meditation, obviously, the more the files go backwards, and you might have had a traumatic experience when you were younger, whether it was some sort of rape or an accident or something that really affected you. Someone said something bad about your skin when you was younger at school, and it gets brought up, and you realise it and you understand it, and hopefully you can let it go. And that's really one important thing that people need to understand. Meditation's not about blissing out necessarily, or kind of going off to some distant spiritual realm. It's not really about that. The true idea of meditation is for you to basically rewind your life and assess the thoughts that have molded you into the person that you are. And by assessing the thoughts, it allows you to heal and become a better person as a result. So sometimes you need to take it slowly. A big trauma came up for me once, and I wasn't expecting it. So the program that we recommend is powerful. I'm not going to turn around and say it's not powerful, and you've got to take steps. Healing is a lifelong journey. It's not a case of eating well for 6 months or a year or even 2 years. Humans are here to heal, until we die, basically, or until we pass on. And, Luke did a video about it. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it really is a marathon. And in the start of my healing program, I thought it was a sprint, and I was doing too much, and you can never really do too much meditation, but I was doing a lot of enemas and a lot of saunas, and I was really hitting it hard, and something big came up, and I wasn't really prepared for it. So you've got to take things slowly, work with your practitioner, understand the power of it, understand the idea of kind of long-term thinking, and you will definitely progress much better and at a much more powerful rate, I think.
Right. And at some point, the meditation exercise will become more relaxing for you. But especially in the beginning, it's difficult for a lot of people because it immediately brings up things, and you're going to have to set it to the side, because you'll be like, all right, I did that, I've kind of fixed enough for the day, I can't really handle anymore, and you set it aside, and you come back to it tomorrow, and you kind of revisit some things, and like Lewis has said, you got to take it slowly sometimes, because it's very healing, it's very powerful, and it will bring up any sort of mistakes that you've made, past traumas, and any flaws in your thinking as well, right? So, like, a lot of people will come to me, and they may come to me for a skin issue or hypothyroidism or something like that, right? But the program won't bring up that first. The program will make them realize they must forgive their parents first. You know what I mean? Or undo some sort of trauma that happened to them as a child first. And so you have to be prepared for that and realize that's part of the healing. And like Lewis said, you have to be prepared to take it slowly and not push all the time. You know what I mean? And there will come a time where the meditation exercise becomes more relaxing, and it's better to do like before you go to sleep, because it kind of relaxes your body, and it's almost like a third party, like sort of just like, it's very it becomes more comforting at some point, but especially in the beginning, it can be hard for a lot of people.
But that's not to put anybody off. Like, if you just the beauty about this meditation is the fact that sometimes you go through life and you don't feel like you're in control. And the thing is, with the meditation, you are in control. You are this is the thing that meditation teaches you, is that you have the opportunity to always be in control. And you can always concentrate on your fingers. That's the free
Right.
will. That's the free will that you have as a human being. You can control your consciousness. So
Right.
the good thing about the meditation is sometimes you might feel overwhelmed because a food affects you, and you eat the food and you don't realize it, and it's affected you, and you can't do much about it. But in the meditation, you are in control, in a sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can always bring yourself back to the present and concentrate on your fingers and see what comes up. But 90% of the time, it's an enjoyable experience. And
Right.
a lot of the times I used to laugh at myself because the way that my mind talked to myself was so crap. I was always kind of putting myself down and saying, "Oh, you're an idiot," or "You're rubbish," or "You're no good at meditation," or this and that. And I was able to watch these thoughts, and it's laughable. It's
Right.
laughable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The amount of crap that comes out, you sat there thinking, how, you know what I mean? I've been running. This has been running through my head every single day, and I've not even realised it. I've just accepted it, and it's it's absolute crap. That's just where it's come from. Sometimes you just don't even know where it's come from. You can go back, but your mind will just say, "Oh, you're an idiot," or "You're not very good at that," and it's like, man, crazy.
Yeah, and life becomes so much enjoyable, you guys, when you're able to do this. And you start making much better decisions. You become much more aware. It's constantly building awareness. Okay, so you can see that a job is not the right job for you, that a relationship is not the right relationship for you. You can automatically start to make better decisions in your life. And, people, I think that the most chronic thing in our society is everyone's so stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
But then, as you heal and your mind calms down and you get better at the meditation exercise, you begin to realize that for most people, especially in Western society, life is the easiest it's ever been, you guys. We have so much, I'm not a particularly rich person, but I have so much that I'm thankful for. And a lot of people make life much, much more difficult than it really needs to be, especially for us in Western societies where we have so much access to opportunity. You know what I mean?
I was thinking about this the other day, actually, and I was thinking kind of we're in a good opportunity, and I'm like, why aren't I thrilled about life? Why am I not thrilled? Why don't I not wake up every morning and life thrills me? Because that's what everyone wants. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That's what everyone wants. And I was thinking, why is it? And I'm thinking, well, for the past 20 years, I've been eating crap. So
Right.
I've been eating crap for the past 20 years. For 20 years I've been living in a box, which also known as a house. And I see whitewashed, and I see white walls. I'm eating ready meals. I'm walking on stilts, aka shoes, which is a big, thick, rubber thing that doesn't connect me to the ground. I'm brought up in a prison, also known as a school, which robs me of my own creativity and my own, ability to think for myself and do what I want. And I'm like, well, that's why I'm not thrilled, and that's why a lot of other people aren't thrilled.
Right.
So we're in a good position where we're safe and we have access to heal. We've got access to foods, and we've got access to a massive amount of information. We've got access to tools that can aid our healing. But you got to think about it. We are so far removed from what a normal human being is all about that we're sick. We're not surrounded by green. Not much of us anyway. We're not surrounded by green. We don't eat foods that are designed for humans. Even if we do buy foods designed for humans, they're all full of pesticides and and fungicide residues and all this crap. We're not connected to the ground anymore. We sit on a computer like this and wonder why we've got all these neck problems and back problems and stuff. And we've got to realise that we're in a good position, but in a sense we've had 20 years. Well, a lot of people have more, 30, 40, 50 years of living not very much like a human. So it takes a lot of effort to rewind it and understand it.
And me and Lewis are lucky that we started in our early 20s.
I wish I started earlier. To be
Yeah,
fair,
it's easiest, you guys. It's easy to heal the children, and it's easiest to heal the children. The children heal so much faster.
yeah.
Uh, the older you get, the harder it is to unwind because there's more years to unwind.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
Um, but
mm.
yeah, and then kind of if you as you meditate more and you get healthier and your mind works better, you just and you deal with stress a lot better.
But there's a
Like,
reason why meditation's talked
right,
about so much. You know, it's in every religion.
right,
It's in every self-help book. You know, even the bloody NHS and NHS is the English medical system. Even the NHS recommends meditation. You know, there's a really powerful reason why meditation is so good, and
right,
it allows you to relax. A lot of people are in sympathetic dominance, which basically means they're in a constant fight or flight mode. People that are copper toxic, people that are full of mercury, people that are running around trying to do 10 jobs at once, people who've got financial stress. And they're in a constant fight or flight mode, and in order to kind of get out of that, you need to do two things. Well, you need to do quite a lot of things, but the main thing in terms of meditation is you need to learn to realise that your thoughts are going too much for a human being.
right.
We're too
Yeah,
many people. What do you do? Who are you? Oh, I'm a mechanic, or I'm a doctor. But no one ever says, I'm a kind, warm person that just likes to relax and enjoy life. Like, we're not human beings anymore. We're meant to be. There's a reason why it's called a human being. We're not a human doing. We're a human being, and
right,
you got to realize, to get out of sympathetic dominance, you've got to slow the mind down. You got to realize that the mind, the thoughts, that isn't really real. It's all part of the ego. It's not you. The fact that you can watch the thoughts, that's the real you. And that's where
right,
knowledge comes from. That's where true knowledge comes from. You shouldn't be living your life on thoughts. You should be living your life through wisdom. And once you stop these thoughts, you'll learn to live through wisdom and knowledge, rather than thoughts that are really superficial and kind of in your face and really top heavy. So
right,
that's important
right.
to realise, I think.
Yeah, and it's also important to realize that it's a great service to others as you heal and you practice this exercise, and that as you become more grounded, you automatically have more of a grounding effect on those around you. And so it's also of great service to others, to heal yourself in this sort of way, you know. Um, Definitely.
But you know, the reason why Dr. Wilson kind of wants people to move energy downwards is quite a few reasons. Like, if you understand how energy works, it works in down the front of the head and up the back, and kind of in like a circular motion. And the energy moving up the back is quite automatic, and your body kind of does that already. But we as people have to kind of push our energy downwards to get it going down the front. Now, the majority of the people these days are in a condition called yin disease, or and if you're not esoteric, if you think that yin and yang's a load of rubbish, it's just positive, negative. It's
Right.
it's plus and minus. We're living in a very, what would it be, minus, negative. Basically our energy, our center is upwards.
Right.
And everyone's in the heads, everyone's running around spaced out, everyone's like, looking up to the skies and not in reality. Now, one of the ways of kind of coming out of that mindset and getting back into reality is by pushing the energy downwards, down. That's kind of one of the big aims of the Nutritional Balancing Program, is to move the energy downwards, and it moves you as a person downwards into the ground. Like, at the end of the day, we do live on Earth, and we are humans, and as much as we don't want, as much as a lot of people don't want to be here, especially the more spiritually inclined people, we've still got to accept that this is where we are. And the only way to do it is to make sure that you're grounded. Once you're grounded, then you can explore a kind of more spiritual realm. But first, you've got to be grounded. Now, a lot of the problems with a lot of other meditation practices and things like Kundalini, people that are drinking ayahuasca, people that are smoking DMT, people that are taking magic mushrooms, people that are vegan diets, vegetarian diets, more spiritually inclined people, there's a reason why they're all a little bit spaced out and detached, and they're all kind of wanting to basically get off the earth and move to a different place. And there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? One of the main reasons is nothing against these people. These are the best. You know, I love talking to these people. These are unbelievable people, really intelligent people. You know, I was like that. I wanted to get off from the earth and move on. But you can't live like that because you're just living totally ungrounded and totally like not on the planet. And it's so empowering just to get yourself down there and get your energy moving downwards. But moving backwards, the Kundalini, DMT, ayahuasca, vegetarian, vegan diets, they tend to push energy upwards. And, you know, this is why people get a Kundalini experience, for example, and it burns people out. You know, no one's ready for a Kundalini experience. No one's been living in northern Tibet for the past 20 years, and they've been living outside of a mountain, eating organic food. They're working down at the local post office, going through Kundalini experience, and it's burning them out. It's messing them up, man.
And it's important to realize, and like I talked about earlier, there is a subset of even my clients. They can do the meditation exercise very powerfully right away, and they have these sort of Kundalini experiences. And it's so you have to be prepared for that on the flip side as well. Some people get frustrated with it, and a lot of times, especially in the beginning, it brings up trauma and things like that.
Yeah.
And also, it can be it can kind of shatter the ego in sort of another direction that you don't. You know, many people are able to do it so powerfully, so quickly, right away, and all of a sudden they're having sort of these awakening experiences where like their legs will shake with the energy as their nerves, because your nerves have to actually learn how to move the energy downwards, right? Because your nerves kind of transmit this energy, and they have to get thicker, and they have to adapt to the amount of energy flowing through them. It's like electricity, right? It's like current flowing through a wire. And if the wire is a certain gauge, it can only handle a certain amount of voltage, right? And so a lot of people, I have clients that experience this too, and then they're awakening these kind of Kundalini awakening experiences where, and it happens so fast for a lot of people. So if that happens, you know, you also have to kind of take a step back sometimes.
And if it does happen, you need to understand how to be grounded, because I've seen this happen in several people, and as a result they've turned vegetarian, or they've taken trips to Peru every week to go and drink ayahuasca, and you know, although they kind of appear more spiritually open or adept, when I look at them I can see that they're getting actually more sicker physically and mentally. They're becoming more sick, and they don't realise it, because it's easy to think that you're developing or think that you're improving when you have these experiences, because I suppose it's natural for you to think, well, I'm having these experiences, I must be improving, I must be going up the ladder, but it's not true. Like 9 times out of 10, if you're not grounded and you're not doing a proper program, you're actually causing yourself harm, and it's actually more detrimental. So definitely seen a few people that have done that, and I feel they're going to regret it, because I can see that the physical health is. And I managed to do hair tests on these people, and the hair tests have got worse.
Right.
No, I've done it, but I've seen the hair tests, they've got worse.
Right.
So it's
Right. Yeah, people are a lot of times they're after a quick experience. Like if I do ayahuasca or a drug or something, like I'll go on a spiritual journey, And sometimes that can play a part. There can be certain benefits from that, sort of awakening experiences. But real true development is a long and arduous process of every day learning to control your thoughts better, of moving energy downwards, of healing, detoxing your body every day. That's what true development is. And it requires a lot more discipline than people think it does. It's a lot more discipline than going to Peru once a week and doing ayahuasca. You know what I mean? It's a lot more discipline in your life. You know? And I think there's a good reason why a lot of Judeo-Christian types are wary of words like yin and yang, and they're wary of these esoteric concepts like the meditation, because for the most part, these do set people on the wrong path, and they're ungrounding, and they don't really align themselves with Judeo-Christian values, which are truth. You know what I mean? And so a lot of these sort of people are very wary of it, as they should be. But it's important to realize that the meditation exercise is the most Judeo-Christian sort of meditation there is, really. That one of the reasons why it's so powerful, I mean, you can feel, when you feel the energy entering your body, and you feel your body, and you feel it, it's important to realize that that basically is the Holy Spirit flowing through you. And there's a reason why it brings up traumas and things like that, because you're literally bringing the Father energy into your body.
But it's like you saying to the energy, or Christ consciousness, or Christ energy, or God, whatever you want to call it. It's like you saying, I'm ready to heal, I'm ready to I'm ready to leave my ego, which was running me, and that was my God, and now I want to understand the truth. And the truth might not be nice sometimes, but you've got to trust in the fact that everything's all right. Whatever comes up, it's for a reason, and you're going to learn something from it.
And it's important to realize that the exercise we're talking about is basically a form of prayer. And if you do prayer while you do it, and in some ways it enhances it, and it's fine to do. It's fine to pray to the angels. It's fine to pray to Christ or the Father energy or the Holy Spirit while you do the exercise. And oftentimes, I'll do this and it'll enhance it. I imagine myself becoming more Christ-like. Imagine that sort of energy flowing through my body, or becoming more like the angels. So I think it's very important to realize that, and it is a certain type of prayer, and it's more of an active form of prayer. A lot of people, praying in and of itself isn't that great in a lot of instances, right? For instance, I had parents that prayed all the time, and they would even use prayer time as a way to call out the other's wrongdoings. And so prayer in and of itself, just saying words, sometimes isn't nearly as powerful as actually moving, the Holy Spirit through your body and feeling it and letting you experience truth. So it's very important to make that point for all you, the more Christian people out there that are very wary of these sorts of things. In good measure, is that, and a lot of Christian types also aren't as familiar, with things like meditation and stuff.
No, it's interesting, yeah, because it does get mentioned in the Bible a few times, but also I just want to say, there's going to be people out there that are going to be thinking, what the hell are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? With Christ consciousness and energy and chi and prana, there's going to be people out there saying, what are you talking about? I'm switching this off. I'm not interested. You know what I mean? Which is fine, but I just want to say, I was that person back then. I was that person, and if you don't understand what we're talking about, if you don't understand the energy or whatever, still do the meditation. There's not, there's nothing. There's nothing wrong with doing the meditation. There's everything right about wanting to understand the mind, wanting to realise that there's a lot of past traumas and past childhood patterns that need to be dealt with. That's stopping people from being happy. Basically, it's really stopping you from being happy. So if you don't get what we're talking about, just do the meditation, concentrate on each finger at a time. When the mind's going off, come back to the fingers, and over time learn to understand your mind. Now, it weren't for, I don't know, four years maybe for me when I started to really think, well, Jesus, there is a God, there is an energy. This is not all kind of coincidence. I mean, if you think about it in terms of being rational, scientists kind of believe that all this is coincidence. Look at it. How the hell can it be coincidence? You're telling me that, I think the conditions at the Big Bang was something like 10 to the 55, 10 to the power of 55. If the digits was one up or one below, the universe it was impossible for it to develop into a stage now where it is what it is, and the fact that we have atoms and minerals and electricity and nuclear fusion and gravity and all these different things. Do people really think that it's all coincidence? It can't. It's impossible. Now, to me, there has to be some sort of designer involved. There's got to be some sort of designer, and the argument is always, well, if there's a designer, someone's got to design that. Now, that could possibly be true, but let's just get to that point first. Do you understand what I mean? Let's deal with that after we've all come to the conclusion that there's no way this was all sprang from nothing in an instant. It's impossible. Now, another thing that's interesting is that scientists and quantum physicists has basically said that time isn't real. Time is an illusion. Now, I know it's difficult to wrap your head around, but take that as a fact. Time is not real. Now, if time is not real, and you would assume that the designer or the creator is timeless. It's a timeless entity. Now, that's probably so far beyond our physical, small-brained mind that we just cannot understand possibly how that works. But if time isn't real and there's a designer, then what is there to say that the designer's always been there? It's always been there.
Right, and there's a lot of similarities too. I mean, between sort of scientific thought and like you're saying, Eastern thought, or even in the Bible. Like you're talking about the Big Bang, right? In the Bible, it just says God spoke and there was the heavens. Bang, right? That's basically that's the same thing as the Big Bang. You know what I mean? There's no. It's two different explanations for the sort of same.
But what's interesting as well, if you've seen the life after death experiences by people all around the world, and these people are dead. There's no question about it. One guy, a neurosurgeon, I think his name, I can't remember his name, Alex. One guy is a neurosurgeon, and he had a life after death experience, and it was due to some bacteria in his brain. And this is a neurosurgeon, and he said, "There's no way I was alive. There's no way the bacteria had basically shut down the part of his brain that kind of experiences dreams or experiences reality or whatever. His brain was gone, and he had the same experience as kind of all these other life after death experiences that they have, and it's very, very similar experiences. It's very, very similar. Like, it's shockingly similar, and apparently in life after death experiences, and even experiences like DMT and ayahuasca, is that they tend to speak to different entities, whether they be more spiritually advanced beings or a higher self or whatever. And these entities tend to speak objects. Now, if you think about everyday language, how we speak to each other, it's difficult for us to get, I can say what I'm saying through words and through linguistic methods, and you've got to kind of hear my words, try to understand what I'm saying, and then take it from there. You don't really understand what's going off in my mind. Now, obviously, the perfect way of speaking to someone or getting someone to understand is to see it, to see the object, or even telepathy. Now, for me, when in the Bible it says God spoke the word and made the heavens and earth, to me that's like all these experiences that these people are having, you know. And you know, Christians say, well, it says in the Bible God made man from dust. Now, back in them days, dust meant minerals. Dust meant minerals. That's the idea of dust. You know, they didn't have a word for minerals. We're made from minerals. Do you know what I mean? God made us from minerals, not from, you know, we're not talking about dust behind a radiator. We're talking about minerals. So, if you understand that, you can understand kind of the thought, the ideas behind it. But it's probably getting a little bit deep. But you know, it's. I was a total atheist. I don't know about you. I was a total atheist, totally scientific minded, and over the time doing the meditation, and having the experiences and reading. You know, I did my own research and I looked into, you know, life after death experiences and different things. And after a while, it makes you realise that the world that I got brought up in is not all what it seems, and my whole worldview's had to change now as a result. And that's difficult for a lot of people. There's a lot of spiritual crisis involved.
Right, yeah, definitely. We've gone a little bit off topic here, but it's important to talk about these two things too. Like, as you experience healing and you get better at the meditation exercise, the truth will come to you more. And it'll come to you more in everyday life too. Like, you'll be able to kind of realize what foods you should be eating that day, or you can feel your body more. Like, oh, I'm thirsty. A lot of people are thirsty all the time. I see this like with, you know, people that I'm around. I'm like, you know, they're like, oh, I'm feeling low energy. I'm like, are you thirsty? They're like, oh yeah, I'm really thirsty. Like, they were thirsty this whole time for hours. But they were so in their heads they couldn't even feel that their body wanted water. You know what I mean? And so, and then these things kind of come to you, you know, throughout the day more, and your life definitely becomes more guided. You know,
I think that's one of the things that happens. I mean, when I do my meditation in the morning and I do my coffee enemas, I get so many insights and things that just come out of nowhere, and you think, well, where's that come from? And like, I get a lot of my kind of business ideas and kind of creativity from them 20 to 40 minutes every morning doing the meditation. It's really massively helpful for people that are running around in their heads constantly, and they just, you know, if you just take that time off and spend 20 minutes just understanding exactly what you're thinking, like, it really massively helps. You know, if you're just starting off, just try and do 20 minutes every day, and like, you'll realize how powerful it is.
Right. So let's do a little synopsis here. So it is important to realize that, you know, the moving the energy downwards and focusing on the fingers, especially in the beginning, is the most important part, I think. Like, a lot of people will focus on, you know, clearing their minds, or like the breathing too, and that can help. But your breathing will naturally deepen, your thoughts will naturally slow down if the energy is moving downwards. Okay, it's especially powerful if you do it while you do your coffee enema. That's the best time to learn, in my opinion, is during the coffee enema and the sauna as well. Just because, you know, the coffee enema will help you move that energy downwards. Okay, and you're killing two birds with one stone, and you're kind of laying there anyway. And so kind of make that your time. You know, turn all your devices off, and, you know, really concentrate on doing the exercise while you do your enema. Preferably first thing in the morning. You know, after you have a bowel movement. You know, keeping the spine limber will help you do this process. So, you know, doing the spinal twist, I have a video. If you go to the videos, I have a video on how to do this. You know, keeping your body hydrated and everything, this will also help facilitate this process. Foot reflexology will help. As you heal, you'll notice the energy will kind of get stuck sometimes, and if you do foot reflexology and you rub sore spots on the top of the foot especially, you'll feel spots where they're sore, or there's like little beads, and if you rub those spots, it'll help this process as well.
I think that's something that we should touch on is when you're moving the energy downwards. Well, first, I don't know what energy feels like to you, but I remember in the beginning for me, the energy was like up here. I was so, you know, up in my head. I was so ungrounded that I actually felt the energy here, and it used to actually come out from out here, like it was so away from me. And over the years, it's gradually come down and down and down. But once you start getting it down, and once you start pushing it, you know, it can feel like you're spinning, or it can feel quite forceful. It can feel like tingling sensation, sometimes a bit of a sexual sensation. But what you need to realise is the energy tends to have a wisdom to it. And if you're not aligned, if you've got slight misalignments in the jaw or in the hips or in the spine, it'll start moving. The energy will start moving these around, and it makes you realise that you've got to focus on that area. You might have to focus on relaxing the muscles, or you might have to get a chiropractor to help you with certain adjustments, or you might have to go deep into the meditation and realise that there's some sort of emotion attached to a tense muscle. So I think that's important to be aware of as well, the fact that when you move energy downwards, it does have the ability to help you understand where misalignments are on your body structure.
Yeah, it will slowly straighten out your body. You can imagine like your body has twists in it. If you imagine like a coiled up string, when you're moving energy downwards, you're actually putting more force on one end, and so it's like you're lengthening the string, and so this has a straightening effect on the body, which is important to realize as well. So regular chiropractic can help facilitate this process. You know, deep tissue massage, things like that. You know, it's important to keep at it. A lot of people, like we talked about earlier, struggle with it more than others. And even though it may seem like you don't feel anything, a lot of people are actually doing it. They just don't feel it as much in the beginning. And it's important, even if you don't feel anything, just to keep at it, and over time, you will come to understand it more. You know what I mean? It's important to be patient with yourself, you know, definitely practice self-love. And really doing the meditation every day is, you know, the ultimate form of self-love, you know.
If you're struggling, just you know, when I was struggling, I find it really difficult in the beginning. Just get yourself focusing on the fingers. Get that mind slowed down. You know, get yourself into a position where you can see the thoughts, and you'll realise that. You know, for me, it was a case of slowing the thoughts down first, and then it gave me the opportunity to relax and then think, right, now let's be moving the energy downwards. So that's how I did it. I found that a lot easier.
Yeah, and like Lewis was talking about, the fingers, especially if you have trouble, the fingers are easier in the beginning. There will come a point where you don't even need to move it to your fingers. You're just basically moving energy downwards, and you'll be able to turn it on if you'd like. But that can take years. You know what I mean? And so it definitely is more important in the beginning to practice moving it to the hand first.
But the main reason why you concentrate on the fingers as well is to stop the thoughts as well, because although we are moving energy downwards, we are wanting to stop the thoughts as well. And when you concentrate on the fingers, a lot of people like to concentrate on the breath, but we concentrate on the fingers. It's really important, because you can be in a position where you just think, well, I've just got to move energy down, and then like you'll do 20 minutes meditation, and you'll realise all I was doing for the 20 minutes meditation was, yes, I was pushing energy down, but I was just thinking all the time as well. And it's important to try and, you know, stop the thinking, see the thoughts, and push the energy down. You know, and for people that are more advanced, to do the 3-part breathing exercise, which is quickly, you know, breathe into the abdomen, breathe up to the chest, and then breathe out again. It should take around 20 seconds to do everything, but I find that more difficult when I'm doing an enema.
Yeah, and there are more powerful techniques you can add on top of it. We might make another separate video for more advanced. You know, there are, like, you can spin your energy to the right, which will help heal you as well. There are other components, but especially in the beginning, the most important thing is that you're really focusing on moving that energy downwards. You know, do it while you do your enemas, do it while you do your sauna. Keep practicing it. Don't be afraid to slow it down. You know, you can set it to a side for the rest of the day if it becomes too much. Because for like we talked about, for many people, it will be too much as it brings up things. Especially if there's really a lot of people have been through really bad traumas, and it's not a sort of relaxing sort of thing for them.
It's really good in the beginning when you realize that a lot of the reason why I'm feeling unwell, or a lot of the reason why I'm not feeling content, is because of my thoughts. And if you can, on your dinner break at work, when you've been working all morning and you're in that fight or flight mode, you're in that sympathetic mode, if you can just do the meditation for 20 minutes and just get yourself back into that grounded mode and stop it in the middle of the day rather than just carrying straight on, that's going to start to help you as well. Even if it's 10 minutes, one day you might struggle, one day, don't get annoyed, just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And over time, you will start to be able to slow the thinking down.
Right. And the rest of your program will help too. Eating a little bit of animal protein every day will help this process. Eating cooked food, which is all part of the programs that we put people on. But if you want more information about the programs, we have a lot of videos. We'll have links down below where you can visit our website and things like that. But I think that about wraps it up. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Hopefully we'll be doing these more often. Not sure what topic we'll do next time. If you guys want us to do a specific topic, comment below. Comment, what kind of topics you would like us to talk about. Anything specific, or maybe even any questions that we can elaborate on from today's kind of podcast. And that's about it. We'll talk to you guys later.
See you later, guys.
I'll see ya.